time now for Coming In Hot with Brent Wallace and former Ottawa Senator Jason York.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Brent Wallace alongside the smartest man in hockey, Jason York. Yorkie, all I could think of yesterday after the Sens win was the Jeffersons opening of we're moving on up.
I had it ready. I saw the when you put your show title, I'm like, it's the Jeffersons. Beans gonna burn in the kitchen. What is it? We're moving on up. You know what? We're probably losing anybody that is under the age of
80.
45 has no idea who the Jeffersons is. One of the best 1970s, early 80s TV shows.
It was pretty good.
George Jefferson, moving on up. Hey, by the way, I got to give a shout out to my buddy Al Arsenault. 25th anniversary right here. Wally, this is the Lakeview Outdoor Rink, which is in the Corkstown area. One of the best outdoor rinks in Ottawa. Him and his family have been running it for 25 years. They've got commemorative hats for hats and toques for the 25th anniversary. So Al dropped this off today, and I said I would wear it on the show. I love a good outdoor rink, Wally. As you know, it's something close to my heart.
Growing up in New Brunswick, outdoor rinks were part of our season. So
did you get good? Wait, would you not get the like the ocean effect because you're close to the water there? You'd get.
I'm not close to the water. Fredericton is in the middle of the province.
But no, it's not that far away. Like, how far is the ocean?
Well, the Bay of Fundy would be about an hour.
The Bay of Fundy. So you got you got cold enough conditions to go like from beginning early December to March.
Back in I was born in 73, so back in the 70s, 80s. Remember they used to actually have snow when it was cold in the winter, and you'd have to shovel a lot. Now you don't have to do it as much. But yeah, I would wear hot shots in my skates and I was a goalie, and from standing around, I'd have them in my gloves.
Hot shots.
Yeah.
They still make those?
Yeah.
Hot shots, the old warmers for the mitts.
So
soft, Wally, you're soft. I just doubled up the socks.
Oh, no, I wanted some heat.
You needed your hot shots.
Anyway, I love a good outdoor rink. Yes. It brings back memories of playing just a regular season game in New Brunswick. Corner. Anyway, do we get right to it, Yorkie? Is this or should we? Let's just take care of some business, and then we'll get ready to the Sens sitting in third in the Atlantic Division. This show proudly presented to you by Charm Diamond Centers. More than 85 locations across the country through Charm and their sister brands. Get custom ring building delivered in less than 4 weeks with a Charm Masterpiece program and unbeatable pricing policy. Check out the large selection of Canadian lab-grown diamonds and mined diamonds, and apply for the Charm Diamond Flexity card and get approved for no interest financing on your purchase in just minutes. For more information, go to charmdiamondcenters.com. And, of course, by Gabriel Pizza, the official pizza of the Ottawa Senators and of Coming In Hot. Get Gabriel Pizza perks when you order on the app. Download the app today, and don't forget, when the Sens score 4, if they ever score 4 again, you will save money and get Gabriel Pizza perks. Download the app. Get 40% off on any 9-inch pizza the day after the Sens score 4. Please, I would appreciate if the Sens would score 4. Also, don't forget, coming up next week are all their Super Bowl specials they've got going on. We'll get to that and more this week. And later in the show, we'll give away a $50 gift card for Gabriel's because it's a great day to be a Sens fan. Yorkie, your thoughts on seeing the Ottawa Senators for the first time this late in the season since the 2016-17 season, sitting in third in the Atlantic Division?
I'm not surprised, Wally. I'm not surprised. Just because of the way they've been going about their business. And a lot of these tight games are playing in right now. It's just a different, I've said this a couple of months ago, this is a different Ottawa Senators team this year. They don't mind if it's a 1-1 game late into the third period. They've been playing some of their best hockey in the third periods. The first and seconds haven't been perfect, but the sign of a team that looks like they're about ready to break out and make the playoffs for the first time, 7 years, is a team that is comfortable when they're playing in these tight games. Because a lot of teams that don't have a good defensive system or they don't play the right way, they'll lose games. Well, how many times in the past with Ottawa Senators teams when longer? Remember the second periods and then the third, it would just be a disaster.
A collapse. Even Travis alluded to it right earlier this year about they used to get down and that would happen.
Yeah. So that's like, good teams get better as the game goes along. So a couple of reasons for this. Number one, their penalty kill is much better because special teams is really, really important. And their power play is still not clicking the way it should. I know they got Stützle got the one against Toronto, but it just looks discombobulated out there. So before, like, you look at the Ottawa Senators when they weren't a great team, their power play was actually really good, but the other parts of their game, the penalty kill, especially the 5-on-5 play, and just remember the timely saves, number one. So getting timely saves, that's another big reason why they're winning. And just the timing of not having those big collapses they used to have at key moments of the game. They're not doing that anymore. Like, late in periods, they're not giving up goals. They're scoring goals. It's just, those are the key things in the NHL. Good teams, we used to say this all the time when on all the teams I played on, especially when I played for Jacques. Late in periods are so important for what's eventually going to happen in the game and momentum and things like that. And Ottawa's gotten really good to close out periods. And goaltending is a big part of that. Funny, everybody was ready to wave Forsberg's done. He can't play anymore. Imagine if people listened to the fans and did that a couple weeks ago. Like, imagine, like, he's not. So again, here's another reason why this team is starting to play well. You got to give credit where credit's due. Marilainen had a nice comeback, and Forsberg has put together a nice little streak here. So they're getting it done, and I think the word on the street is Ullmark potentially could be back for this game against Washington. But you know what? Good on Forsberg, because it's tough. As we know, Wally, it's very tough playing in a Canadian market when you're not playing that well. So good on him to bounce back and help his team be where they are right now. He's a big reason for it too.
Well, you can tell mentally they're not rattled as much as they used to be, for sure. Yeah. The question, I guess it's not even so much a question anymore. When Ullmark comes back, which should be Thursday, barring any kind of setback, I think, is it just Anton Forsberg and Levi Marilainen goes back down to Belleville until he's needed once again?
I think so. Like, you look at where he's at in his career, like, he needs to play, and it doesn't do any good. The nice thing with the proximity to the two teams, Wally, with Belleville only being 2 hours away, 2:15, you can bring him up whenever you want. Like, I know goalies don't like it when you have 3 guys at practice and you're sharing the net and you're doing all this stuff. It's not conducive for getting guys enough volume of shots, because they're not going to practice that much anymore. Like, they haven't really all season. Like, the games are so stacked in, so it's really tough to carry through goalies. So I think that's what they're going to do. Like, Marilainen will go back, play all the time, and be ready when he's called for.
10 games in the last 16 days. Of course, we all know about the consecutive back-to-back wins on the weekends. So
much for being tired, eh?
yeah. I was curious about this because Utah in the game yesterday in the 3-1 win was Utah had played. This was their third game on the road. They'd done Minnesota, Winnipeg, maybe, and then Ottawa. So that's you know what? They get tired too. So I was curious of how that third period was going to turn out. And Ottawa played its best period. I got a sense from listening to Travis that perhaps they did say a little bit of something in the second and third period. I know we always think that there's some big speech that's made in between periods, which isn't true for the most part. You just got a sense that something was said the way Travis responded after the game.
I'm sure something was said. Absolutely. It was pretty, like, you looked at both teams and you could tell both teams not running on fumes, but there was some mistake. It was sloppy, right? The game was sloppy. Utah had some injuries, Sens have some injuries, but full marks. Ottawa had their best. They brought the level up in the third period. I got to say too, I know Cleven's ice time has come back a little bit as of late, and we'll talk about some of these things later, but he played physical in that game. Did you see the hit? Because what's his name was running around, that Liam O'Brien running around on forward trying to hit guys. It was in the third period. He took a run at Tyler Cleven, and O'Brien, he's a big guy. He went down like a friggin' sack of hammers. Did you see that play, Wally? It was
in the corner.
It was a reverse hit, and I'm like, that is what I'd love to see Tyler Clevin do at least once a game, because he's so big, right? And he's young, he's learning, but it was like, wow, he is. It's nice to see him use his size, and because plays like that, your team takes notice, and the other teams takes notice. I like plays like that better than fights, because it's those to me are actually momentum turners.
Speaking of momentum turners, you got to think, the Toronto game, which was a huge win, obviously, whenever it's the Leafs and they're sitting first in their division, is Tim Stützle scores, right? Yeah. That's a huge one. Shane Pinto scores off his knee. That helps him. And then Brady Tkachuk yesterday, Claude Giroux yesterday. You could feel you could feel the angst kind of leaving a little bit with Brady for sure. First point in 10 games or 11 games, I guess. That's tough on the captain.
Absolutely, especially when you're used to scoring all the time, right? Like he's a guy that his career is going like this. It's like, okay, is he going to get 35 or is he going to get 40 this year? Now it's like, is he going to get 30 or is he going to get 25? It's been tough. But I'll say this about Brady Tkachuk, and I said this last week. When you watch him, his defensive game has come such a long way, Wally. And I know you got to score, but he's just not cheating the game, not blowing the zone. He's being used late in games when they're up a goal or two, and he's playing hard minutes down his own zone. Like, you watch how Ottawa is so, I'll use Travis Green's word, connected. What that means is in their own zone, they're really tight around the front of their net. So they make it really tough for the other team to penetrate that slot area, which in years before, how many times did we see a guy wide open? Or how is that guy all by himself in front of that? Like, that rarely happens anymore. The one thing that does happen,
the Leafs.
Well, that's that soft spot in the top of the slot where a lot of forwards will go up and get lost. I'm talking about those plays that were around the front of the net where guys would be like wide open. You're like, what the hell is going on? And we remember how many times on this show were people talking about structure, and this team has no structure. Well, they have structure now. And even if you have great structure, you're going to see stuff like that from time to time. It's hockey, right? You're going to see some goals, but it's Brady's defense has gotten worlds better than where it was before, Wally.
So I'll take. I still don't think he's skating as well as he used to be.
Really? What leads you to believe that?
Just watching.
Do you think he's slower?
Something seems off to me.
Well,
and so maybe, Yorkie, I'll put it to you this way. Before, he used to sit at the opposition blue line for the most part and just wait for so we never used to see him come back all the way, because that was not the way the system was played. However,
they stretched it out. Yeah.
He just feels a little off to me.
I would say, based on the volume of games this team has played in a short amount of time, I would say most of the guys on this team are pretty banged up right now. I'd be hard pressed to probably find a guy that's playing 100% right now, Wally. So there's probably something to that for sure. I'd say Batherson as well is probably playing with something. Most guys are at this time of year, Wally. Like, this break can't come soon enough. And that's the thing. Some guys, Brady's not going to get a break. You're going to keep playing. But it's just this season it's so stupid having this Four Nations Cup, because you put players in the situations where you can get hurt, where you're fatigued. It's just playing these back-to-backs in these short amount of times at the Ottawa Senators, especially when you're playing 20 minutes a night as a forward, it catches up to you. And then you see games like we saw the other day against Utah, where it's just not a great hockey game because your body can only do so much. So there's probably something to that for sure, Wally. There's probably something he's playing with. Like I said, most guys probably are.
Well, and the way he plays the game, right? He's not designed. He's not a finesse style. Like, he'll always be battling something, it seems.
To play the style that Travis Green wants these guys to play, it's very taxing to back pressure the way the Senators do now. If they dog the puck on the back check, and when before, the way under DJ's system, it was like the forwards. So there would be a huge gap because the forwards would wait and they'd flip it out, and hopefully they'd get one of those stretch plays going. But then the problem was, when they turned it over, they were in horrible position. So now these guys it's more taxing to play this way. It's way it catches up with you. And like I said, especially this year with the condensed schedule.
By the way, the Ottawa Senators sit 6th overall in goals against, 8th overall in sixth overall in goals against and in save percentage. The last time they were in the top 10 was 2016-17. Here's the difference between 2016-17 and now. In 2016-17, the save percentage of teams above 900 was 28 teams out of 30. Now it's 11 teams have a save percentage of 900 or better.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I was looking it up today. Winnipeg was like at 902 and they were 28th in the league that year. I was like, this is crazy. But just goes to show how good their defensive game has been, right?
Yeah. How about the stat with because people have been saying that Sanderson, he's having a bad year, he's not doing well. And then that stat was thrown out of defensive pairs with their expected goals against. And number one in the league right now is Sanderson and Zub.
Yeah.
Like that.
They play against the top team, the top lines.
It's pretty impressive to be at the top of the league right now where those two sit. And then all of a sudden everybody's, see, Hamanek's terrible. Hamonic was driving him down the thing. And then, hold on a second. Wally, what's happened the last couple of games with the Ottawas? Who came back in the lineup the last couple of games?
You're trolling. What
happened? By the way, happened. Yeah.
Just because I know you like Travis Hamonic. In his last 17 games in the lineup, the Ottawa Senators are 11-5-1.
With Hammer,
everybody's now tuned out the show, but I just thought I'd point that out.
Do you know what? There's some mysteries of the universe and myth. There's like Mythbusters. Remember the show Mythbusters? There's just certain things. It's like the paranoia of things that you just, are there UFOs? Is there going on? Does the Sasquatch exist? You just don't know the answers to the Loch Ness Monster. One of these great secrets. Why do the Ottawa Senators win when Travis Hamonic's in the lineup? Another myth that people just can't bust. But there's obviously something to it, right?
I actually think he's played well the last few games without question.
Wally, I'll tell you this with Travis Hamonic. So I'm pretty sure he did his MCL. And when you do your MCL, it's whatever he was out. He missed 10 games. So what did he miss? A month? 6 weeks? He actually came back pretty early.
He was from January 3rd to January 25th. So 22 days, 3 weeks.
That's pretty good, actually, to get back that quickly. So when you come back from that, you normally ease your way back into the lineup after missing that many games. Do you know how many minutes Hamonic played against the Leafs?
Yeah, it was over 21.
22. Yeah. Played 22 minutes and played pretty good. And then last night, I think he was around 19. So again, some things you just can't explain in this universe. But the Ottawa Senators win when Travis they win more often than not when Travis Hamonic is in the lineup.
Jake, just play the video.
Have time. You can't touch this. You can't touch this.
I didn't know when I prepared the show. This was not part of the show. Wow. I have a question. We're moving on.
Sure. But did you have an answer for it?
When Travis Hamonic's in the lineup, how the team?
Well, look at the record. Look at the record.
Okay.
What do you think?
I don't think he's the world's worst defenseman. There's an awful lot of hate, and people want to say he can't do this or do that. I think if you watch the last few games, he's been very good, if you ask me.
So this is what I'll say. Things were going very poorly, right, for the Ottawa Senators. How big was that Toronto game, in your estimation? If they lose that, if that game, arguably the biggest game of the season, which we'll be saying that for the rest of these games moving forward. But I'll tell you, having played in those games, and now they're worse than ever because the Toronto fans, when I used to play, it was about 60-40 Ottawa. Now, what is it? 80-20 Leaf fans. It gets terrible.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. So you want to make a statement as a player. If you lose that game, your momentum is going to keep coming down, and that was a massive game. So I'm just saying, played 22 minutes in that game. 22 minutes in the NHL as a defenseman is very difficult, especially when you've just missed 10 games of the knee injury. So you got to give him some props, man. That's not easy to do after missing that much hockey.
Matty J has a question for you, Yorkie. What's your take on the Sens' constant drop passes to exit their zone and how the breakouts have been so unsuccessful?
Well, they do the majority of their drop passes on the power play breakout. Like there's not a ton of drop passes on the regular. A lot this. So the one thing teams do now to break out of their own zone, everybody uses it's D to wing to far D, because when teams forecheck, they play on top of you. Like when Travis Green says we want to be on top of the puck, so when you're getting forechecked, you have to use that underneath D to break out. So I think that's what he's talking about when they go to the winger and they go back to that far D. That's how you break out of teams' forechecks now. That's why defensemen are so important now on your breakout, because they're usually getting it. So it goes up the boards and fling it across to that far D. That's just smart hockey, and all teams do that. And everyone's doing that on the. I was talking to when I was in Windsor this weekend. My buddy is a big Red Wings fan. We were talking about all the drop passes on the power play. That's just. I think every team does that now, Wally.
On the power play, for the speed,
the slingshot.
Yeah,
With Ottawa, is that a part of their issue with their power play? Sure. I just think they don't shoot the puck enough on their power play. It's too much perimeter and not enough shots, and you just got to be simpler. It's just and then when you struggle, you just start thinking about it. But they try and be too cute. But we'll see. That they got to get that going, Wally. If they're going to be a playoff team, that power play has to get figured out.
Well, they tried a bit with. They had Claude on there yesterday.
Yeah,
to see. I thought it was all right, but they just seem like they're static.
I think on that first unit, Tim Stützle is an incredibly talented player, as we all know. When he loves to hold on to the puck extra long, and he waits. So when they continually work it on that side, I just find it's become very predictable. And he's not he doesn't love to shoot the puck. And when he does shoot the puck, he's coming down, and he's a left shot, so it sticks on the outside instead of on the inside. It's just, and they used to go down they used to sling it down low to Batherson and pop it out to the slot. But teams now, obviously, they're ready for that. Yeah. I still think you need to get the puck to one side of the ice and get the goalie moving east-west or west-east, and there needs to be more one-timer threats. Like they don't. How many times have you seen the one-timer goal or shots coming when it moves from one side to one side? It just doesn't happen.
Quick question: you saw Timmy cut off his hair. Thought it was gonna. By the way, I was told that's the biggest reaction he's gotten in the room from his teammates was when he gave himself the buzz cut. I guess he got it from his barber who came over.
It was awesome, eh?
So that morning I said, Tim wouldn't take his hat off to let me record it. He was like, "You'll have to wait for warm up." And I was like, "Well, what made you want to do it?" And he goes, "The barber came and I asked if I could do it or if I would look good." And he's like, "Yeah, no." He's like, "Okay, that's why we're gonna do it." So screw you.
It was awesome. Hey, by the way, how did Stützle's one time? How was that goal scored? That power play goal. It went one side to the other, and it was a fake shot. Get the goalie to bite and get the goalie moving, because he can't. If you do it fast and you one-time pucks, the goalie doesn't have enough time to adjust. And I actually, so it's the one time they just moved the puck quick and shot. Like that's how you beat goalies in today's NHL.
So my question was going to be, as I was getting to the Timmy part, do you remember a teammate coming in anytime to try or what's been the best thing a teammate has done to try and break guys out of slumps or just reaction to break the room up, if you will?
So the guy that did his hair like that, to try and get us ready for the playoffs was Damian Rhodes. He went with the platinum blonde hairdo. I remember that. Like, we're going back a long time here. And then for as far as slumps go, it's the old story when always told this on the show before, when Bruce Gardner couldn't score and he stuck his stick in a toilet. Like, that was the biggest thing I've ever seen a guy do. And then keep it in the toilet for like the next, I don't know, he did it for like 15 games in a row. And then guys started using the toilet and guards still thought it was good for the stick.
Anyway, okay. I was just curious if there was others, but sorry I asked.
That's a pretty solid haircut though. Like, he means business now.
Do we have the scoring leaders, Jake, handy? Because if I'm not mistaken, I think. Oh no, I switched the picture up. I thought I had him in the picture of his haircut. I'll get
that's lean, eh? When you look at the top scorers for the Sens.
So we remember at the beginning of the year, we're like, hey, could we have multiple 40 guys, maybe multiple 30 guys? Are we going to have more than one 25 goal scorer?
Oh boy, yeah, man. I think Brady's going to get to 30. I think he's going to start scoring in some bunches coming up. I could see Josh Norris. You know what? It's yeah, for sure. Would you love to have lots of scoring? But I just tell you, to win in this league. I look at the recipe that the Vegas Knights did that year they won the cup. They didn't have one guy in the top 20 scoring. Like, it was 4 lines. All 4 lines played. They played hard. They didn't give you much, and they had good goaltending, and they won the cup. No, I don't know about you, but I'd rather have that than a bunch of 30-goal scorers to get their cookies. Like would you?
Yeah. I'm just so how many guys end the year with 20 goals?
Stützle is going to get over 20. Batherson is going to get over 20. Tkachuk for sure. Norris. The way Gaudette's going right now, he just
needs 5.
He's not in the coach's good books right now. I think he played just over 5 minutes, and Matthew Highmore played. He's going to slowly take his job in the lineup the way he's playing right now. He played 15 minutes against the Leafs.
Yeah.
Was very effective against Utah. Now when you see the problem is with David Perron coming back into the lineup now, it's like once he gets his feet under the ground, like you could see him taking some of Gaudette's looks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then if you're not scoring, who would you rather have in the lineup? Would you rather have Matthew Highmore or would you rather have Adam Gaudette?
Here, let's do if you want to win a $50 Gabriel Pizzas gift card, email cihsends@gmail.com. Tell me how many 20 goal scorers you think the Ottawa Senators are going to have this season. There's no right or wrong answer. I'm just curious of what you think.
What do you think?
cihsends@gmail.com. 4 seems obvious, but it just seems like maybe someone's not going to do it. But I think I'm going to go with 5.
Well, they still have over 30 games left.
Yeah.
That's a lot of hockey.
But just the way that they're playing, Yorkie, they've scored 4 goals once in the last 5 games or so. Like, they're not, and we've talked about it, I'm sure. And there are going to be games where they're going to get 4 and 5 goals. It just doesn't seem to be the norm right now. And as you know, down the stretch, everything gets tighter.
Yes. But you're also going to have some games, if Ottawa continues to play like this and they're in a playoff position, where you're going to play a team that's out of the playoffs. And you're going to get a few of those games where you win 6-4, something like that, where the other team's just playing no defense. You get some of those where the Cookie Monsters are out on the other team's cheating. Guys are trying to pad their stats for contracts. You get some of those too. Like, it's especially in the last 10 games of the season. But yeah, no, it's like this. I'm not going to lie to you. Is it concerning that they're not scoring like they used to? For sure. But is it the end of the world? No. Like, they've found a recipe that works for them, and that's playing the right way. Like, I'd much rather have this, especially what they're doing on back-to-backs right now. Like, getting better as the games go on. in your third periods. I'd much rather have that than, winning and not playing the right way. So, but I do think I look at this group. Well, I don't think this, number one, I think the power play has to get better. Just too much. There's too much talent with the personnel they have. And believe me, they're going over video. They're looking at it. They're trying to figure out a way. It's probably driving the coaching staff nuts right now. But like I said, I want to see more of what I saw in that Toronto game, and that's moving the puck side to side, selling some shots like what Sanderson did on that play, and then sliding it over for quick one-touch one-timers. To me, that's a much more effective way than always waiting for those perfect set plays. They're just too tough.
Okay, I want to take care of some business, and then I got to get to a couple of things that I'm way behind on. This you've derailed our show, Yorkie.
It's not my fault the team wins every time. Hamanuk's in the lineup. I can't explain it. It's a mystery.
People are throwing things now at their device in which they're consuming the show. Every time this, so everyone's like, name.
People were like, Jensen's out of the lineup. Who's going to play with Shabbat? God damn it, we're done. We're going to lose. The team's done. All of a sudden, Hammer slides in and they win again. Oh, it's so funny.
Nick Jensen's I think is a huge loss to this team. Massive. On paper, anyway. But they looked fine.
Yeah. Well, that's when you play the right way, right? You can slide guys in and out. I telling you, Ollie, when your forwards back check and work and come deep into the zone, it helps your defense out so much.
So,
and that's what you're seeing.
Does Nick Mattenpalo come out of the lineup when Nick Jensen returns and Travis Hamonic moves to the third pair? What is your third pair, Yorkie?
I would say he's probably going to, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Yes, he's going to come out of the lineup because you just look at how the coaches allocate their ice time. Look in these last two games. Like there were, and I like Mattenpalo, Wally, but I think based on how they do things, Hamonic will go into the third pairing with Clevin.
Is there a chance they just I'll say flip depending on what the roster is of the team coming in? If it's like a big heavy Western team, do you put Mattenpalo in for Hamonic? Has Mattenpalo maybe earned a stay here for like maybe the rest of the season as the 7th D?
I would say based on how he's played, well, he's going to anyhow because Jacob Bernard-Docker's got a high ankle sprain. That's what we think. And he's probably going to be out for a long, long time. So that question, and also too, there's going to be guys getting hurt. Like Jensen went down, Shabbat with the full, like that problem will probably take care of itself. But as far as Matt and Powell plays, I think he has, Wally. I just think he brings with his size, his simplicity, his willingness just to play a simple game. I think he's endeared himself to the coaching staff, and he's got a different element. How many times we talk about this of just when you already have Zub 6 feet, 6'1", Jensen's around 6 feet, Shabbat 6'2", Sanderson, all those guys kind of play the same style, right? Like puck moving, good skating D. It's nice to have a big hammer back there, a big guy. But again, like you're in this league, Wally, when you get comfortable and you say something and all of a sudden he has a couple down games, things can change in a hurry. So he just has to keep doing what he's doing because things can change in a hurry. But based on so far, and even Hamonic, if he has a bad night or things don't go as well, yeah, for sure, things can change. But based on the last two games, it'll be Hamonic.
Okay.
But yeah.
Take care of some business with our friends.
Our friends from BEI, helping to shape the Ottawa Valley, equipment rentals, aggregate topsoil sales, custom crushing and screening. They can do it all as well as pave that driveway for you. I get my driveway paved in April, Wally, so I'm excited for that. So when you're planning your next project, please consider BEI for all your aggregate supply needs, and you can contact them at bonishirexcavating.com or at 613-432-1120.
And of course, our show is proudly presented to you by Bet365. Open an account today with Bet365. Bet on a huge range of markets. So whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Use code NATION. That's NATION, all uppercase letters. Must be 19 years of age or older. Please play responsibly. Download the app to get on the action. The Sens don't play until Thursday, however. But if there was one thing I'd like to bet on today, I'm going to get your opinion. Would you bet on Claude Giroux going into the Hall of Fame? Would you take the over or under? Now, before you answer, here's a look at Claude's numbers as of late.
Yeah, you get good numbers.
He's 50th all-time, tied for 50th all-time in assists. Points, he's 67. Like, one more point, he'll have 1,100 and be the 67th person in NHL history to record 1,100 points, Yorkie. 118th in games played. That'll certainly be up there. I know he doesn't have a Stanley Cup or a Hart Trophy, but he has been a Hart finalist. This one's a tough one for me.
A lot of people will talk about Alfie. The thing that helped Alfie a lot was his international success, and staying with the Senators, being the captain for that long. But I believe the committee, the Hall of Fame committee, really looks favorably on international accomplishments. Obviously, they do. Like, you look at some of the Russian guys like Tkachuk, so like it's big. So if you look at Claude's resume as far as international, Wally, what did he accomplish? Because I don't have it in front of me.
He's got a World Junior gold, World Championship gold, a World Cup of Hockey in 2016 gold, also a silver at the World Championships.
Talking about Olympics.
He didn't play an Olympic team.
Yeah, so I think that's one thing that could hurt him, is the international success, right? Because that's helped a lot of guys get in, because they look at the whole body of work, because it's not the NHL, and then there's a big argument for that, right? People will argue that.
I do, because there's also a double IHF Hall of Fame. So anyway.
Yeah, no, I know everyone has their different perspective. I'll look at a guy, for example, though, like a Bernie Federko, who's in the Hall of Fame. And if you look at Bernie Federko's career compared to Claude Giroux, probably pretty similar, right? As far as the points and the stats go. So I just, if a player of that stature can get in, Bernie Federko is a really good player, don't get me wrong, I would say, yeah, Claude Giroux should be in too.
Here's a question. And I think John Tavares is around the same point totals. Is John Tavares, and he has like 470 some goals, maybe. Is he a Hall of Famer? Those two kind of seem as maybe the same type of player.
Yeah, I don't think there's. I think Claude's was more emotional, fiery.
Well, I don't mean that. I just mean on paper, looking at stats.
Yeah. No, if you look at the stats, yeah. People love to look at the stats. Is Tavares a Hall of Famer? The thing is, both of these players' stories aren't being told yet. Like,
I know, but I just think if you have 1,100 points, Yorkie, and there's
I agree. I agree. Based on some of the players that have been let in, I would say, yeah, probably both of them. But then there's weird stuff like, why is McGillney not in the Hall of Fame yet? Like, guy had 76 goals one year. Yeah. McGillney was arguably, I'm going to say arguably, I played against him. He was one of the top three players in NHL for about a 2-3 year period. He was that good. And I really believe when you're at that level, you should be in the Hall of Fame. Then if I look at a guy like, can you look at Tavares at any point in career? He had a couple years in the New York Islanders when he was one of maybe top 10 players in the league. He had a couple really good years in Long Island.
Claude was he not going to the Olympics till he got injured just before?
Yeah. And Claude had that. He had a couple really good years in Philadelphia. If both these players got put in the Hall of Fame, I'd have absolutely no issue with it because they're great players.
There was a 5-year stretch where Claude Giroux was the leading point scorer in the National Hockey League.
So then, based on that, I would say yes, he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame because I just look. If you were at a time in your career when you were one of the best in the game, because to me that's what the Hall of Fame is all about. It's for the elite players.
It's changed now. Now is it super elite or is it just the hall of some really good players?
It's the hall of very good.
So if I think Keith Tkachuk should be in there without. It's not even
100%. It's not. He's not even in debate. He's not even in debate.
Same with Alex McGillney. Claude Giroux is an interesting one to me. I think if you can score 1,100 points in the National Hockey League, I think if you score 1,000, you should be in the Hall of Fame.
I agree.
1,100 points. It's just
not done.
It's not even a question to me.
And he's not he's still a really good player. So yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Based on what I've seen of who's been put into the Hall of Fame, I'd say for sure he's in the Hall of Fame. I don't have the list of guys, but I always go back to the Bernie Federko comparison because when he was playing that opened the door for a lot of other guys. Really, really, really good player. But back when they were doing the Hall of Fame as just the elite guys were getting it in, things kind of changed. And then they opened the door for some more players. But yeah, no, I agree, Wally. Those numbers, just playing 1,232 games in the league and being consistently producing points. And for me, I'm not a guy that's I think points and stats can be very misleading, especially guys that go throughout their career and they just put up points. Claude's game is more than that. It's about playing hard, competing. He's when you watch him play, he's still chirping guys at age 36. He's still in the fight. He's not, you know what I mean?
I agree. I don't know if anybody pays attention to the intangibles on the Hall of Fame committee.
I do. Too many people don't though. And if you look at intangibles of his game, remember those series when Philly used to play against Pittsburgh, how much Crosby hated playing against Claude Giroux? To me, vice versa. There's something to be said for that when you're that valuable of a player, kind of like Doug Gilmour, right? A lot of guys hated playing against Doug Gilmour. I would say Claude Giroux, kind of similar to that, where you just know every shift he's going to fight you tooth and nail. He's not going to run you over with huge hits or anything, but he's going to compete all the time. And I love offensive guys that compete. I would say if I'm picking, absolutely Giroux's in the Hall of Fame.
Bernie Federko, 14 seasons, 1,000 games even, 1,130 points, once had a 40-goal season.
He's in the Hall of Fame.
It's in the Hall of Fame. Now, he is over a point per game player, right? 1,000 games, 1,130 points. That's pretty good. But
yeah,
I just think Claude should be there based on the way they've
awarded that's why
players.
And I didn't even know Federko's numbers. That's why I brought that comparable up. That's what I'm just saying. When and I don't want to shit on Brady Tkachuk because he's a great player. He's a captain. He had an
1,100 points.
He had an amazing career. But everybody used to think the Hall of Fame was for Gretzky and Lemieux and Gordie Howe. No, that changed. It's now for really good players. And Claude Giroux is better than a really good player. I forgot about those series in the playoffs, Wally, when he was playing against Crosby and when he was
I covered those.
He played so hard, and he still plays hard. And his story's not done yet. That's why it's going to be interesting to see what happens. It's going to be interesting to see what happens after this year too, as far as his contract situation goes.
Do you re-sign him? I think we had this discussion not that long ago.
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
but but what's the number?
The rest of the season will determine that. What happens from here on in, that'll be determined. What goes on. But I would think if in a perfect world, absolutely they want to get him. He's just, you can tell how all the guys on this team respect him, and it's not just I've played with older guys when we brought them in, and they're great talkers, and they were in their mid-30s, but they couldn't play anymore. So it's tough to talk when you're not on the ice doing it, where Claude talks and he does it. And that's a really important piece to have on your team when you can walk the walk and talk the talk.
Well, people in the chat are like $3 million for 4 years. That's $3 million max, 3.5 for a year. I don't know that he takes that kind of number. I don't know that he goes below 5.
I don't know.
So that's what I'm curious to see.
Like it's like, again, it's premature to figure that out now because the important games haven't been played yet. Like they're coming.
For sure.
They're coming. Like it's gonna get really fun around here from here on in, Wally, because the team hasn't been in this situation in 7 years. Like now we're gonna see who can play and who can't and who delivers, because now it's real pressure. Like it's not evaluating the team. Oh God, this guy's playing really good right now. He's got scoring goals. Well, yeah, because they're out of the playoffs. There's no pressure.
Yeah. They still need a top 6 guy. Like there's just, I didn't think Josh Norris generated very much because he's playing with Perron and Giroux yesterday like they need another top 6 forward.
Yeah. When you look at that lineup right now, well, also too, if there's guys mired in huge slumps right now too, Wally, like Batherson's in a massive slump.
1 goal in 20 games, but Tkachuk, Stützle, Giroux Pinto have all scored in the last 2 games, or what, if I'm not mistaken. So there's guys that are coming around. Ridley Gregg, he looks very good. If that Pinto, Greg Amadio line, or even Pinto and Greg, whoever is the winger, has played very good hockey of late. They love playing that shutdown role at the moment.
Yeah, I would personally, if it was me, and I said this last week, look what happened when they moved Tkachuk, Stützle, and Giroux back together last game. They know where each other are on the ice. I think that line's got a ton of chemistry. And I know Norris and Batherson have chemistry. Maybe you throw Batherson back with Norris and then give Perron a try with those guys. Or but yeah, for sure they're short one guy.
Yeah.
But let's just you got to give David Perron a little bit of runway here to get back into game shape. And like he missed a lot of hockey.
Well, he's been hurt all year, basically.
Yeah.
Right?
So
since training camp. So
yeah,
I'm willing to let him have a couple of games.
Oh, a couple. Like he's missed a ton of. Like,
I know, but if Brady Tkachuk came back into your lineup, maybe you can't compare. Let's say Claude Giroux. If he missed 2 months and came back in your lineup, how long are you going to wait for him to put up points?
Well, honestly, Wally, it takes you a couple of weeks to feel like yourself. Like your wind is terrible. You're gassed. You actually start to think to yourself, because I'll tell you, I missed all of training camp 1 year. I had one practice. It was in Nashville. I had eye surgery in training camp, so I didn't even step on the ice for 6 weeks. And then I did one practice and played. Barry Trotz came up to me 3 weeks later. He's like, "What is wrong with you? Are you ever going to start playing like you can?" And I'm like, I missed training camp. He's like, "I know, but it's time to start playing." So he basically threatened me. And then I started playing better. But like speed's never. We had Dave when he was coming on the shows with us. Speed, he knows his game's not a speed game. It's about cycling, puck protection, going to the net. So we'll see. You got to give him a little more time to and get back into get his reps going, and then you can make a better judgment on him.
Concerned for Nick Cousins.
Yeah, what's the deal there?
I don't. Well, they haven't announced it yet. The hit didn't obviously look good, right? It went knee on knee. I thought he was playing really good hockey. Obviously, the best of the season, but I just think that he's a guy. Hopefully, it's not long term, that he's back in time, at least for a little bit of the playoff run here down the stretch.
Yeah, no, he's going to be an important guy. This is what you signed him for, Wally. This time of the year. Remember the beginning of the year, he was kind of off a little bit. He was taking some bad penalties. He wasn't really like, why are we signing this guy? Like, he's not very good. Now all of a sudden, when games are getting more meaningful, you notice him all the time. Yeah, hope fingers crossed it's not something serious. But yeah, that would be a big loss, because he loves this is Cousins' time of year.
Okay. By the way, here is the pick of Tim and his new do. So I'm wondering, Yorkie,
is he a redhead? So is there like a tinge of red in there?
I don't think so.
Maybe that's the lighting, eh?
Could be the lighting. If the Sens were to go to the playoffs, would you consider going for the Stützle?
Myself?
Yeah.
I had the Stützle like shorter than the Stützle 3 times. Not by choice, though.
Is this a hazing incident?
My first year playing for the Smith Falls Bears in the CCHL here, I was 16 years old. And then they said, yep, all you rookies are getting your head shaved. And there was no choice. And they said, they were pretty nice to me, though. They only took it down. It was shorter than Stützle's. Like they did it like they just took the thing out. They did your whole head. It's easy. And then my next year in the OHL, Wally, back-to-back head shavings. Go to junior. They shaved it. And then they took a Bic. They took a Bic razor to your head. It was brutal. They did some guys on the team, like one guy, he had long hair, our third string goalie. This poor guy he got cut and they still shaved his head. They did his whole head with a Bic razor. So he was completely bald, and they left the long hair that started at his neckline. So he looked like Frankenstein with the Frankenstein monster, not like the guy with the long hair, the weird looking Frankenstein. It was crazy. Yeah. And then another guy, they gave the reverse mohawk, just hair from ear to ear. And then they said, if you guys shave this off, we're going to do it again. You got to go to school like that for a week. So they made you go to school with your stupid hair like that. And oh my God. And then again, we went to the minors. I make pro and I'm like, okay, I'm finally done with all that hazing. AHL, they're like, you guys got to get your head shaved, but they're lazy in the minors. The guys are like, we're not doing it. You go to the barber and tell the barber you want a quarter of an inch, set it to a quarter or a half inch. And they go, then they had a ruler. So when you got to the rink, they measured your hair with a ruler. If it wasn't short enough, they made you go back.
So how do you think I would look with a Tim Stützle haircut?
I think you'd look great. Like the salty white, really short hair. I think you'd look good. Like,
do you think I would ever do that?
I think you'd have a good bald. Like some guys look good with a bald head. Like I think you could do it. I think you should do it. Actually, I see. Look at you.
During COVID, I helped raise some money for Chio. There you go.
Are you a little bit light on the top there on the front?
No, it's just it's the sun.
See the thing is, Wally, like they say this, not everybody can be a good bald guy, or you need a symmetric, like your head lines up good to be bald. You should ask me. I have an old picture of me in Hamilton. I look miserable though. I'm not all smiley like you. So I was you look see. I think you should go back to it.
No.
Why not?
No.
You if you put your glasses on that picture, you look like the guy from Breaking Bad.
Yeah. The teacher. Oh, I don't know. I can't think of his name. Brian Cranston's all I can go up with.
One of the best ever.
Not Howard.
Hausenheiner or what? What's his name?
Heisenberg.
You're Heisenberg. Cooking up the meth.
Walter White. That's what it is. Thank you.
You're Walter White. Your hair's what happened to the other picture? Your hair is nuts.
That's the same day. So that was during COVID. When you couldn't get haircuts. So that's whatever it is, 2 months of
crazy. Eh? Hey, think about that, eh? You weren't even allowed to, like, you'd get your dog groomed.
Oh, by the way, there was a murder in the park last night here in Ottawa. As one of Gertie's friends, the bunny, was savagely attacked and is now Gertie's very upset.
Did you know there was like black market underground dog groomers during COVID? Did you know that?
No, but there was underground everything during COVID.
Like our dog's hair was out of control. So we found a number of this person. I'm not going to sell this person out. You basically had to take your dog. It was in Canada. You drove to their house and they knew when you were coming. You didn't go in and the door would open and you drive your car into their garage, let the dog out of the garage, outside the garage. The dog would go in the house and get the haircut. It was an underground black market dog grooming service.
There was so much stuff. Anyway,
it's so crazy, eh? It's so crazy.
By the way, big week that we have coming up is we quickly the Gabriel Pizza winner for today, Melina Farmer. We will get in touch with you after the show. She believes there's going to be 6 people with 20 goals. We have a big show coming up, by the way. Tomorrow morning, Jamie McLennan drops by.
Nice.
And then a super duper guest on Wednesday that I don't want to announce just yet.
Did you get him?
It's a guest. I
know who it is. I won't say, I promise.
Anyway, and then tomorrow I want to discuss perhaps should Travis Green be considered for the Jack Adams. So we will get to that. It's the Ottawa Senators will still be in third place tomorrow when we all wake up. Tomorrow evening, however, Boston plays Buffalo. Tampa hosts the Chicago Blackhawks.
Wow. That's going to be some hockey coming up. You know what we need to close the show out today with? Jake, do we have the Jeffersons theme song, Moving On Up? We got to get that, eh? I'm going to tweet it out for our Twitter followers. Anybody that hasn't seen the Jeffersons, Moving On Up. Oh boy.
All right. What job did Mr. Jefferson
George Jefferson was dry cleaner.
He was a dry cleaner. Yeah,
he was a dry cleaner.
Okay. We will see you tomorrow morning, everybody, 9 a.m. Join us because McLennan will be right off the top of the show, just letting you know.
Awesome.
Have a great day, everybody.
Take care.
Thanks for tuning in to Coming In Hot. If you enjoyed the show, hit that like button and be sure to subscribe to never miss an episode.